The stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't.
Hi, Crime Reports and Rewards viewers. Did you know Augusta Crime Stoppers, Crime Reports and Rewards is one of the fastest growing TV shows in Augusta? There's even a wife of a former police officer writing a book called The Crime Stopper, and it's going to be about you and this TV show. Many that we speak with tell us they have no problem with crime because they don't hang around or allow those kind of people to be near them. But everybody is robbed by crime, you just may not realize it. On October 20th, almost everyone will become a criminal, even if you've never broken a law in your whole life. Believe it or not, almost all of us have already been listed as criminals when we refused or could not sign up for Obamacare because the site doesn't work anyway. And right after the elections, they plan on a roundup of you criminals to make an example of you for the public good, of course. Another way you're going to be made into a criminal is on October 20th, a new rule goes into effect placing all water under your feet coming out of hose, faucet, raindrops, or even snowflakes under the EPA at the behest of the UN. There is no due process and no trial because it's a rule which triggers an administrative procedure which could even cause you to be held under UN law. And since you may not be needing your house, car, bank accounts, and all assets, makes them subject to seizure with no lawyer or judge able to help you or hear your case because it's an administrative procedure, not a law. You can stop it by going to Georgia Farm Bureau's website at www.gfb.org and clicking on Ditch the Rule. Then tell the EPA to go away. They won't, but at least you will have tried. Then the day after that, you may be turned into a criminal if you own a dog or have a pet. On that date, the new animal control ordinances proposed by a lady who many believe to be the holder of the Richmond County record for putting more furry family members to death than any woman in Richmond County's history. She says you can't secure your animal in certain ways, and you have to pay a lot more fees for the public good, of course, and says she and her county employees need to take over your pet's life, walk onto your property anytime they want for your own good. What she's not telling you is that between chemical castration and animal rescue groups, Augusta does not need to spend millions that should be going to our Leos on expensive animal control facilities, because if we chemically castrated strays and dog owners, dogs owners let roam, sometimes it might not be a bad idea to castrate some of the people we know, but we're just going to start with the dogs owners let roam. Soon, you won't be able to find a stray, much less have to house them. If a dog is caught roaming, they get an injection. That does not change anything about them, except that it will be almost impossible for them to reproduce. They'll still have everything they were born with, they'll just be shooting blanks. No one getting the millions of dollars in tax money to house animals has told you about chemical castration, even though it's been around since 2007, because it works a little too well. They'd rather enact a raft of draconian laws that will make as many of you as possible criminals using your own tax money and placing our Leos in harm's way trying to enforce it and taking the blame for this government overreach. Call your county commissioner and share that all they have to do is chemically castrate strays and dogs that the owners let roam, or maybe even a few owners, no, we're kidding, then turn the pound over to the rescue groups who will run it as a nonprofit. Then give all those millions to our Leos so they can afford to continue protecting us. See why Crime Reports and Rewards is the fastest growing TV show in Augusta? WRDW's Patrick Price reports that a man's home got shot up on Circular Drive off Beach Orchard Road in Richmond County. Investigators say 7 shots were fired towards the house. 2 of those ended up going inside his home. It's a shame this happens. Atlanta and Columbia have pounded their most violent offenders out of their towns with round-the-clock sharing of Crime Stoppers tips lines and offering big, fat cash rewards. Crooks don't mind being busted so bad by cops because they chalk it up to their own mistake. But when they don't make a mistake but are turned in by family, friends, coworkers, and competitors, it really gets under their skin because the tipsters get paid. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is offering a cash reward right now for this suspected gang-banging murderer named Domino Roberts, who is wanted in connection to the murder of Jahil Q. King in September on Steiner Avenue. They said he should be considered armed and dangerous. Roberts is 5'7" and 150 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Officials believe Roberts may have been injured during the incident. They said he may be in a burgundy in color, newer model box-style SUV. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is offering this cash reward for information leading to the arrest of 32-year-old Domino Roberts. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Roberts is asked to please call the Sheriff's Office. Look for a continued flow of real bad guys from these other cities and Savannah as their media pounds them out of their town with Crime Stoppers tips. Call or write your favorite media and ask that they save others from their homes being shot up by sharing Crime Stoppers 800-222-TIPS number, where you remain anonymous and the life you save may be your own.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Sweeping changes to Augusta's 35-year-old animal ordinance, which Animal Services Director Sharon Brody, who is suspected of putting to death more furry family members than anyone in Richmond County history, has been proposed and did pass the Public Safety Committee Monday. The ordinances will now go before the full commission October 21st, which, if passed with no corrections, may result in countywide fines, seizures of private property with no due process, and will include a mandatory spay and neuter law for all animals in the county with few exceptions, a ban on tethering. Animals cannot be tethered to any kind of stationary object unless in the presence of their owner. Licensing requirement. All animals must be registered with the county. Registration will be good for the length of time that animal's rabies vaccination is valid, although several have said that will have to be every year instead of the rabies vaccination. No animals may be transported in an open truck bed unless the animal is secured in a ventilated container. This and the fact you won't be able to have your dog guard the back door of your home or the tools in the back of your truck may decimate citizens' rights to self-defense of themselves and their property. Sharon Brody's Richmond County Animal Control gets millions from the taxpayers that should be going to our cops. Have they ever heard of Google? We Googled this animal problem and received the answer in seconds that millions in taxes should have gone to Google to find out. Chemical castration is so cheap and instant, you have to wonder why they're keeping it a secret. Has Sharon Brody never heard of Google? Chemical castration has been around since 2007. Immediately, the feral dog population would plummet. After a while, if you wanted a stray dog, you might not be able to find one. Why is animal control keeping chemical castration top secret? Is it because they know we won't need to spend millions and millions and millions on animal control if we start chemically castrating every stray on the spot? Chemical neutering solves the problem. The process only takes minutes and completely eliminates the need for surgical castration and accompanying anesthesia. Turning pet owners into criminals and continuing to attack the citizens with our own tax money is not the answer. Chemical castration is. So what else are your tax dollars being used to quite possibly illegally attack the taxpayer who paid them doing? Many private properties are now under solid waste, also known as the River Creepers' kin. They're taking your blood-bought rights and you're letting them get away with it. Now your taxes are used to target your pets. They can already take your vehicles, your cash, and tell you who or how many people can be in your private, fully paid home with no due process. So they're suspected of even ripping off the lawyers and the judges. After October 20th, they can walk into your no trespassing sign posted property like they own it, because soon they may. If you pressure wash your home or a car or an old something, you may even go to jail, forfeit all your property, and never get it back. Go to www.gfb.org, which stands for Georgia Farm Bureau, and click on Ditch the Rule before it's too late. Once you give them up, your rights are gone forever. You'll never get them back. This is the real reason why tax increases to pay our Leos are so hard to get. They say they're raising taxes to pay our Leos, then they steal the Leos' money too. Using your tax money to make the taxpayer who paid it break the law is creating a hazardous work environment. When our brave Leos try to enforce this laws, they're put in harm's way, when all we had to do was chemically castrate the strays and send a free email or make a free call to the landowner asking them when would be a good time for a crew to walk on their property and mow their unmown lawn. But when your tax dollars are used to violate 200 years of due process, it's suspecting of being the reason why there is a spike in the killings of our officers nationwide.
The suspect went up onto the hood, grabbed a hold of the top of the hood up near the window, and continued firing through the windshield.
I didn't know it was an officer until I got around closer. And then as I got around closer, then that's when I could see, I could see the front of his uniform. I could tell that it was an officer.
The average citizen in the United States has no idea that 150 officers a year are killed on the streets in the United States. They have no idea.
Jaime Padron's little girls, 6 and 10, Adriana and Olivia, they're never going to have a tomorrow with their father. They're never going to have another Christmas with their father. Their father's not going to see them get married and walk down the aisle, which is every father's dream.
Yes, he was a cop. He was killed in line of duty. But that tends to go away. People have short-term memories. I remember the person. I remember the cop.
Having had this happen, you start to think, wow, okay, a $50,000 life insurance policy. My husband is dead. He's really worth more than $50,000. He's priceless. I can never get him back.
Can't delete his number. It's almost like if I delete his number, I'm admitting that he's not here. That he's gone. I mean, I know he is, but I still can't accept it. I still can't.
Attention all units on the green radio. South Sag has an 1199 in progress. Officer down. Shots have been fired. No further information at this time. When we have further, I will update you.
Motorcycle deputy with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office on his way home after getting off from work was shot and killed at approximately 1:18 this morning.
To some, he was just a face that you saw around the station. He was a name that you might have saw on the roster. To others, he was just the ID number 3510. But to me, he was a lot more than that. He was my friend. He was my brother. And I loved him.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
If you live in Augusta, you had to notice that the river was lowered and everyone was told not to swim in the river because they were putting a Agent Orange type herbicide on the hydrilla. Well, we went up and down the river and asked everybody, and we took a picture of the hydrilla. And it turns out nobody saw any mist coming off the back of the boat that was supposedly spraying the hydrilla. The scoop on hydrilla. Does this very happy, bright green hydrilla look like it's been sprayed 4 days ago? It's bright green and looking very healthy. Witnesses report seeing the airboat with no spray equipment and no spray. We had the same boat on our show coming back from South Carolina where it's not supposed to be. Did the county just pay tens of thousands of dollars to a fraud? So what else is this group of suspected conspirators up to? How about walking onto your private property, mowing your lawn without your knowledge or permission, and sending you a bill with no due process? You can't fight it because it's an administrative process and does not ever go to court. Citizens trying to sue them in other administrative matters like this are having their cases thrown out because it's not a law. It's an administrative process. No lawyers or judges or pesky bills of rights allowed. They just tell you to pay up or seize and auction your property. About a year ago, code enforcement quit cutting overgrown lots and Augusta's Environmental Services took over. Residential lots are still under code enforcement, but empty lots are now under solid waste. Who is kin to the river creeper? Solid waste has a kin of the river creeper taking over, and as he has, we now see contractors walking onto private property and just mowing your lawn without telling you and sending you the bill. A crony contractor cuts your lawn when they see fit and are not required to provide a 10-day notice. Commissioner Grady Smith expressed that to blindside somebody by sending a crew out to mow your property is something I don't like. No dates of when cleanup took place show up on your property tax bill, just how much you owe. The city said the new method saves taxpayers money because the focus is on cleanup, not notification. Right now, if you don't pay the bill, the city could put a lien on your property and sell it. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is asking the public's assistance in locating David Dempsey, a white male. Dempsey is wanted for an armed robbery that occurred at the Augusta Metro Clinic, 525 Ellis Street on April 25, 2014. Witnesses that were at the methadone clinic said that David was a regular there and knew where the tray of money was kept. So when he walked into the front room, he knew to tell the employee to go to the back room and get the tray of money. Being he was a regular, where Dempsey is almost certain to have to seek methadone or its equivalent somewhere else. Those who saw the robbery take place said the amount of money taken was somewhere in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. If he comes back to Augusta after he thinks the heat has died down, then he's likely to pull another robbery similar to this one. So pain clinics and drugstores may want to pay special attention to anyone standing in the waiting room who looks like Dempsey. If you know where police may find David Dempsey, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS. Or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous and unrobbed. This press release was sent in by Sergeant Michael Shane McDaniel Sr., Internal Affairs PIO, Augusta, Georgia, 706-821-1003.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
This week, Crime Reports and Rewards found out a local lady is now writing a book that may turn into a movie called The Crime Stopper. What do you think should be in it? We shared with her how Crime Stoppers started when an investigator couldn't solve a brutal shotgun murder. He asked the local TV stations to play a public service announcement about his offering a cash reward for information leading to the college students' killers. After the ads ran, a tipster called in and said he thought a certain automobile had left the scene at about the time of the murder and could be found at some nearby apartments. That led investigators right to the college students' murderers. Since then, Crime Stoppers has opened a Crime Stoppers program in almost every major city in America, with our borders being left wide open and bloodthirsty head choppers being caught right at our border. It's only a matter of time before a relatively small number of terrorists could use America's own weapons to bomb a major American city and hold us all hostage unless we stop them. Call or email your favorite TV or radio stations and ask them to share Crime Stoppers 800-222-TIPS line. We've been here in Augusta since 2010, but other programs have been stopping crime all over America for over 30 years. And now Crime Stoppers has stopped about $1 billion in crime. Experts agree there's no telling how many lives Crime Stoppers has saved. So if you want to be on our show or in our show, Send us a video of you challenging others to stop crime, and then call our nationwide tip line if you see crime at 800-222-TIPS, where you remain anonymous and unmurdered. And now for a Crime Reports and Rewards special report. Massive amounts of information were deleted from former county manager Fred Russell's hard drive. There are piles of emails and other things sent to Fred that were deleted. Anyone who thinks that's all that was on his hard drive will lie about other things too. I saw it printed out, and it was enough to fill an entire room. One of those who had likely sent the most emails to Fred were cronies that controlled the county's slush funds. Remember when Fred said the county had plenty of millions on hand to spend millions, 40 million of it, on the Marble Palace? On that day, it was true. Then suddenly, the county was broke and had to raise taxes. This is why they formed a conspiracy to steal the marina contract and why they've been trying to slander the marina operator for 15 years. Yet he's still there. One reason why he's still there is he's the only one who even knows who actually owns what and what is where. A bunch of missing money had made its way to department heads, which is why they tried non-stop to smear his name. But the judge didn't buy their lies and renewed his lease for 10 more years. Told you, Joe, print both sides. Print is stranger than fiction and funnier. Basically, Fred fell on his sword to protect his department head buddies and cronies who misappropriated Richmond County Sheriff's Office money and firefighters' money to cover their departments and non-governmental organization cronies' misappropriation of county taxpayers' funds that are ending up in Columbia County private bank accounts. When the county commission voted to spend money one way, this conspiracy figured out how to do the exact opposite of what the county commission and mayor voted to do. This is why this conspiracy's leader recently said the county commissioner's vote did not count.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.